This week, you might think they ain't nothing to bet because we're at the end of college football. We're at the end of the NFL regular season. But this is why this week is the perfect week to bet. Let me show you how. MoneyPot betting. Let's go. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Money Pot Betting Show.
Money
I'm the
Pot.
host, I'm the CEO, I'm the president. They call me Moss Money. And we got our own professional gambler, our professional bettor, chomping in, ready to look at how we bet this week in each and every way possible. Got some draft talk, got some things we were talking in the background. He's your favorite professional bettor, C Sharp. What's up, bro?
Oh man, we're here. 2024 started off with a bang.
Yes, sir.
It was very ugly. Hey, that's what happens. Everyone thinks that winning is easy, and it's not. You got to learn to lose sometimes. And luckily for Kalen DeVore, he didn't choke it away there at the end with how he kind of handled some of those late game situations. But a win's a win, a cover's a cover. And man, Washington already getting us rolling into 2024.
Perfect.
That was awesome.
Absolutely. And that wasn't the only game that we won. Now the Iowa. Now I hear you out there. I see you with the Iowa and the Tennessee chats. But you got to understand. First, it was just some money line parlay bet, right? It was just. It wasn't like it was a best bet, but we talked about Michigan, Bama, that we were on. Obviously, big hit with the week before with Florida State and Georgia. That was just a monster hit. NFL that whole week, we had a really good week too as well. So, like you said, you win some, you lose some, but we just win a lot more. That's all.
Yeah, we've had some bad bets. I always like to point them out. The
For
Bucks
sure.
was just a bad bet. If you're questioning why I like the Bucks, that was a bad bet. The Rams, that was probably a trap. It was good to kind of be a lean and not a bet. And same with Iowa. We even said Iowa's not worthy of betting standalone, but I'll throw them in a parlay or I'll throw them in a round robin just to see what happens. But we were pretty clear. I mean, I thought we were very clear that Georgia and Washington were our two strongest plays. If you didn't love Washington money line, I mean, we've been talking about Washington for a couple of weeks now. I mean, really, quite frankly, this show's been talking about Washington all year.
Yep.
We're not surprised they're here. We've been betting on them all year. Against Oregon, we took them as money line. I'm going to keep taking them money line here against Michigan. I just love Washington. Every year you find that one team that's your cash cow, and it's the Washington Huskies. They've been our cash cow.
Yeah, let's go right into it, man. The college football national championship is set. Washington versus Michigan. Michigan is favorite -5. Total is 55. Money line is -210. We already said and heard Sharp, kind of give the take on. I'm on Washington money line. I'm on Washington spread. With this Michigan Wolverines team, how does Michigan win this game? Like, how is it? Like the spread is kind of telling to me, right? The spread is kind of telling to me, and the spread is telling me that clearly the favorite and clearly who should win this game is the Michigan Wolverines. They've been battle tested, veterans from the coaching staff, from the players on the field. They have the toughness that you need, especially late. They don't get too high. They don't get too low. They're exactly everything that we thought they were this year, and then some, and they proved it on the field. So this line is really telling me, because I was with you with the Washington Huskies, because I think Penix, in my opinion, and I think probably the most opinion, he's the best quarterback coming out this year. Most NFL ready.
Yeah, for sure. Most NFL ready. I think the thing with Penix is he's closer to his ceiling than a Williams or a May. I think that's the one thing you're talking with Penix. You're talking about he's got the highest floor in the draft, right? You kind of know what he is. He's safe. He can run a team tomorrow. He might not have the highest ceiling because he's closer to his ceiling. So I think you nailed it there. He's definitely the best QB in the country. Like, I don't know why he didn't win Heisman, but that's for another day.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to understand this, this bet here this number here. You know, they beat, Pac-12. I guess they beat Oregon though. I mean, we just saw them beat a Big 12 team, and and Texas took them to the wire. But it was no slowing down Penix, right? But I mean, we talked about it last week, right? And I'll hit that link up there, as well, just to kind of give that that take if you guys want to double check that, is that Washington's strength was Texas' weakness, right? That secondary was Texas' weakness, and that was Washington's strength. Arguably, if not the best three trio of receivers. And then you got a guy with a cannon for a left arm who could drop it on a dime. He made some real pretty balls out there over the shoulders, dissecting, going through his reads. He looked every bit of as advertised. But I'm just trying to understand, like, how is Michigan favored by this much? Like, that -5 is really, really, really telling to me. And I don't think all year Michigan has faced maybe Ohio State, but you can't compare McCord to Penix at all, right? But how does Washington slow down? I mean, sorry, Michigan slow down this Washington offense because they're running hot right now.
Couple things I do want to touch, and a couple Ohio State fans have said this to me, and it's so true. Just imagine, everyone watched Ohio State play Georgia last year with CJ Stroud and how back and forth it was with a couple key injuries. I mean, no Jackson Smith and Jigba in that game. Anyone watching the NFL knows how talented of a rookie that kid is. And then you got Kyle McCord this year, and it was a back and forth game. I mean, just imagine if Ohio State this year had a Michael Penix. You think they beat Michigan if you swap McCord and Penix?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily understand this premise that Michigan's like far and away the most talented team in the country. I do think, remember when we talked about last week, we looked at the look ahead spreads and what the matchups would be. And it was Michigan -5. So I will say the odds makers, after watching Michigan and watching Washington, they haven't changed their stance. I mean, they reopened the line exactly where they had it posted last week, which I will acknowledge. Like, I like that. Like, that they're just going to stand on where they've got these two teams rated all year. I do think it's easy to – I mean, I said it preseason. I thought Michigan was going to win the national title. I think they were the better team. Now, here's why, and I said it last week. You can go check the show. I really wanted to bet on Michigan. I thought they were going to beat Alabama. I thought Alabama was a bit of a fugazi. If you go back to the preseason show, I wasn't a big fan of Georgia. So the fact that people were just talking about how good Georgia was, and me and Diddy kind of had this little side bet about how Georgia could get away with losing and they'd still be in. And I was like, man, that's just not what I see on tape. I just didn't see a dominant Georgia team. And so the fact that Alabama beat them, to me, that wasn't like this trump card win where it's like, oh, Alabama should be the favorites over Michigan. Like, Michigan beat Ohio State, and they do what they always do. They sleptwalk the next week versus Iowa. Like, they didn't care about Iowa because their Super Bowl was beating Ohio State. That's just who Michigan is. Now, I will say this. I wanted to bet Michigan last week, but I think Harbaugh is literally backdoor interviewing, essentially, for some of these NFL openings through his agent. And you can tell me he is, you can tell me he isn't, but he fired his agent and hired Don Yee a week before the college football semifinal. And anyone who knows Don Yee's a power broker. Now, he's not like the guy that does everybody. He's literally the guy that handpicks the best of the best. Like, he's going to take on the top contracts. He's going to do the big boy negotiations. He took care of Tom Brady forever. He's the guy that does big boy stuff. And Jim Harbaugh didn't hire him to negotiate with Michigan. Jim Harbaugh hired him to negotiate with NFL teams and NFL owners. So I think that's why his team played a little distracted. They were way better than Alabama, but they let Alabama in the game because of all their special teams gaffes. And that, to me, was proof that
it was a messy game. It was a messy game last night.
They could have beaten them by 10 to 15 points, and that was my handicap. I wanted to bet Michigan, but is Harbaugh really paying attention? And my answer was no. And to me, I think Michigan's the better team, and I think they can win this game if they're buttoned up. But if all of a sudden Harbaugh's gaining more and more traction, all of a sudden you hear leaks that he's down to L.A. and Chicago, and it's definitely he's taking interviews, then, man, I like Washington even more because they're all in on this season and not necessarily the next season in the bigger picture in their lives right now. And I just feel like Michigan's a little distracted, and that's a problem.
Do you feel, because you just said they're all on this season, could you make that same argument that Michigan's all in on this season? Because they know after this year, it's fucking blowing up.
Well, like
it's a wrap.
I thought so, but like part of me is like the Harbaugh thing. Like I think everyone within the program is definitely all in, and I think Harbaugh's all in on this year because they all know that like there's sanctions coming. Harbaugh's probably leaving. If Harbaugh leaves, then McCarthy probably leaves, and then Sharon Moore's taken over a program that's kind of in disarray for a couple of years until he can right the ship. And so, yeah, I do think there's a sense of urgency for both these programs. But again, we saw it with the Eagles when Jonathan McGannon was talking to Arizona leading up to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was a distraction.
His just game plan was lousy. And you just can't have one foot in one door, one foot out the other. I just don't think it works that way.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean, we can say where was he? Where was Harbaugh before that? Stanford? Was it Stanford?
Well, Stanford, and then he was with the Niners. And then, yeah, he had a falling out with the Niners because him and their CEO didn't get along personally. Harbaugh's a problem, like personally. He's so tough to deal with. And right now he's at odds with Michigan's athletic director. Like him and the athletic director can't stand each other. So part of me thinks he wants to win a national championship and then leave that athletic director with all the chaos when him and McCarthy leave to the NFL.
Well, my thought is that he's seen this and done this before, right? He's done that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't remember where they were. I'm pretty sure they were probably in a bowl game. I thought that Stanford team was maybe 12-0, 11-0 at the time. But I don't remember everything of surrounding him when he took the Niners job and how that kind of how he navigated that. I would feel he's a little bit more seasoned, so he knows what to expect. I don't think he's going to take his eye off the ball. Right? Let's not forget he is a Michigan guy, right? From his past college days. But I think
I want to say when he left Stanford, Andrew Luck came back for his senior year, and that really stabilized the program. Okay. I'm almost 99% sure that Luck came back for his senior year when everyone was like, you're going to be the number one pick. You and Harbaugh are going to be a package deal. Then Harbaugh took the Niners job. Luck came back to college, and it kind of like everyone was shocked at that. I'm almost positive. Yeah. And then Luck was basically calling his own plays his senior year. And that's why everyone was like, oh, my gosh, this is the best college kid we've ever seen. Because, every other college kid, they get to the huddle, and then if it's an audible, they're every player on the sideline is looking at their position group to see what the check is. Someone's got a card or someone's got a dummy card. Well, in college, like Andrew Luck was literally like running it like an NFL QB. He was like tapping on a lineman's shoulder, telling the O lineman what the slide protection was. Then he was turning behind and telling what the running back, which side to get on. Then he was whispering over, doing hand signals to the wide receivers, like stuff that you just didn't see college kids doing. So I do think that was part of Harbaugh's plan. Like he knew Andrew was coming back, so he left him in a good spot. To me, I don't think he cares about leaving Michigan in a good spot personally. He just hates the athletic director.
Yeah, I hear that. So we're looking at the coaching, right? Let's look at the X's and O's. How again? I think I go back to the original question. How can this Wolverines defense slow down this Washington offense? Is it getting pressure on Penix? Because I was looking back at some games that he had, some of the bigger games that he had. Obviously against Texas, big spotlight. Against Oregon, I mean, I think that helped because it was in Washington, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was that in Washington, that game? Yeah. Yes. I think it was. Yeah, it was in Washington. At Oregon State was tough. Arizona
was tough.
Yeah, Arizona was tough game. But I'm trying to compare it, and then the Pac-12, so you really can't compare Pac-12 and what's that, the Big East. It's tough to do that. So I'm just trying to see this matchup because the numbers telling me to bet Michigan. Like that's where I'm at. I'm at like I feel like Michigan is the play here. That minus 5 is very, very, very.
So if you're looking at the handicap, at the handicap and wanting to know, and again, so basically look at Washington and Texas, and we talked about our handicap. Like that was going to be a shootout, and we essentially just trusted Michael Penix to make the right decisions a little more than Quinn Ewers. And it didn't even turn out to be that. Quinn Ewers, to me, played really good football game. I thought he was spectacular, to be honest with you. It just came down to the fact that the two running backs fumbled, right? And Washington didn't have as many mistakes. They had the one muffed punt, but they didn't have as many mistakes. Those two key fumbles by both Texas running backs, that really was the one difference in possession, right? Like, because then Texas got the stop late, scored. Like, the thing about Washington is their defense isn't very good, like, and especially not their run defense. Like, you can run all over them. Michigan's going to run all over them. Like, there's no doubt they're going to do what Texas did. And you have to ask yourself, I probably trust a Donovan Edwards and a Blake Corum with ball security a little more than I trust Baxter and Blue, the two young running backs for Texas. So then and there, I think if you're talking about like a possession, Michigan is less likely to beat themselves than Texas. Texas has wild swings of up and downs. You saw it in OU. They'll move the ball all over the place, but then they turn it over 4 and 5 times. They moved all over the place against Washington, and they had 2 key fumbles that kind of killed them. Michigan's less likely to do that. And Michigan, the difference in defense is Michigan's got better corners across the board. And I don't think that Texas has good edge rushers. Their 2 defensive tackles are phenomenal. Their 2 defensive tackles are better than Michigan's 2 defensive tackles. But Michigan's 2 edge rushers are much better than Texas's 2 edge rushers. And Michigan's second unit is much deeper than Texas's second unit. So, like, over the totality of the game, I do think Penix is going to be under siege more than he was against Texas. So that could be the difference. Like, he could just not escape a couple times. Like, if you watch that Texas game, there was a couple times where he dodges a free rusher and then it makes a spectacular play. Where if that's a sack, maybe the game changes and maybe Michigan gets home. So that would, to me, if you're a bettor on Michigan, you're just trusting that they can basically get to Penix where Texas couldn't.
Yeah, who's the best? Would it be Graham, you think?
Who?
The best or Moore? Graham or Moore on that Michigan Wolverines defensive line?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're just good across the board.
Yeah. They're solid. That's the thing about Michigan. They're a solid team.
And they're a better defensive scheme than Texas. Way better. Like they send overload blitzes. I mean, they got that same scheme as Baltimore runs.
Yeah. So the one bet I do like here, I think it's the first half. Is what I'm looking at. It's a little bit juicy. You've already said your side and your take that you're on Washington here, and Washington plus money here. I think I like this Michigan first half. The -3.5. Now I like the -3.5 at even money and with the half but I just can't stand the hook there. The hook can burn you every time. My thought is if Michigan wins the toss, they're going to defer more, 9 times out of 10. But I'm gonna lay the chalk here, man. Give me Michigan to win the first half -150.
That's fair.
I like Michigan first half. I want to say Michigan has been in this spotlight before and Washington hasn't.
Oh, absolutely.
So I want to say that the bright lights might not face Penix, might not face some of the A1 or A players on the Washington Huskies, but don't know about the coach, don't know about some of the other skill guys. And these plays, and if you watch, if everybody watches the game, you see a lot of drops. Those are nerves, man. Those are nerves with big lights, and you don't want to make a mistake. Like you said, I don't think Michigan's going to make that many mistakes. I think Michigan punches them in the mouth, and I think Penix does some heroics at the end to see if he can win the game. I see how this is how that game flow is going to go.
It'll have to be that way. Like Michigan cannot get behind by multiple scores and have to start passing, like drop back and pass to get back in the game. But if Michigan can score, stay ahead, run the ball, score, and then like always force Washington to respond, I do think eventually they'll get that stop they need.
Yeah.
Which and I want to be very clear. So if we're going to scale my bets, like we always talk unit size, that's why to me it's very important to talk units so that the listeners and anyone listening out there just knows how we're scaling bets. So last week, remember, I liked Washington versus Texas, 5 units on the spread, 3 units on the money line. This week, it's not the same. This week, it's 3 units spread, 1 unit money line. So just already off the bat, you should kind of know how I feel about the handicap in general, that like I'm tailoring down my bets just because the matchup to me can favor more Michigan ball control than it favored. Like to me, I just felt like Texas and Washington they both wanted to play up tempo, score.
Yeah, score.
And and that's just going to favor the more veteran coach, the more veteran QB who has better receivers and is less likely to make a mistake. This, I don't see it. This is like two different. This is like rocks, rock, paper, scissors, rock versus scissors. And I could just see rock kind of just breaking the scissors after a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like this Michigan bet. This will be I like you said, scale, and just to stay fair to the viewers, I say I'm taking it, but you don't know what I'm betting. It's minus 150, so it's going to be almost like a 1-2 play, not a 2-1, but a 1-2 play. Meaning I'm going to lay the juice, so I'm going to put 2 units down. But for me to put 2 units down, I gotta spin 3 to win 2, right? To win my 2 back. So it's going to be a 3-unit bet, but only to win 2. So, you guys got to remember that those odds and how that juice works definitely changes the way you look at the bets. If you like the 3.5, that's 3 units to win, 3. That's even money, right? So you can't get too much better than that unless you go on the plus side. But the hook kills me. The hook, I can't do it with the hook. Even though I could see the hook from a halftime perspective, maybe it's because of my NFL brain a little bit. Might not be as much from a college perspective, but I could see this being low scoring first half with plays in the Michigan hands. I can see this being, maybe 13-9.
See, part of me wants to like almost like buy out of my money line position and up my ante on the spread. Like I love Washington +5, right?
Yeah, I like Washington +5.
Like I could see Michigan winning by 4. Like I could even see Washington being up by 3 late, and then Michigan just going on that grinding drive, scoring a touchdown late and winning by 4. So like at 5, the spread wise, taking away money line and who wins the national championship, like all day at 5, I'm taking Washington. Like to me, I'm not that concerned that Michigan's winning by a touchdown. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like I don't think this should be a spread of 6 or 7. I just don't have these teams power rated that differently. That being said, money line of all the games, like I think when we're talking about Washington playing Oregon and Washington playing Texas, like Michigan's better than Oregon and Texas.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So that is our best bets for Washington versus Michigan. You did talk about Texas a little bit. I think it was some fun talk from a draft, and if you guys are still watching, don't worry. We'll have NFL Week 18 coming up, so just stick with us, and then we have some talk about what's MoneyPot doing in 2024, as this is the first pod in 2024. And if you're a new viewer, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And thank you for all the 1,000 people. We had a goal to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, and we hit it right on the nose just on the day of. So I want to thank everybody for doing that for us and helping to support MoneyPot. And like I said, if you're a new viewer, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button to keep getting free bets week in and week out. But the portal is going insane. We talked about Texas. Now Texas is out. There's some QBs out there that still, are going to say they're going to come back or not. We already probably know, Penix is gone. But Ewers with Manning, right behind him. What's your take, or what do what people are telling you out there in Tulsa, or, from your connections and networks? What do you think Ewers is going to do, and kind of give some people a little snippet of what the portal has been like this year, and kind of trying to keep up with all that, all that noise out there.
Yeah. So the portal's officially closed for any player that didn't play on January 1st or December 31st. Let's say the third. Yeah, December 31st. If you had a bowl game December 31st, you got 5 days. For anybody else, if you played December 30th or your season ended a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
the portal is closed for the spring. So we know all the big transfers. The one that was kind of surprising, Cam Ward put his name in the portal and then all of a sudden decided to declare for the NFL draft. The deadline to declare for the NFL draft is January 13th or January 14th, one or the other. So basically the last two names that are huge impacts and what kind of happens. Man, Quinn Ewers, he's kind of the clock is ticking here. So if you're kind of following along, Arch Manning, Peyton Manning's nephew, Eli Manning's nephew, he was the backup this year. He's the highest paid backup in NIL history. I know NIL's new, but think of it like NIL terms in NFL terms. Imagine having a veteran quarterback not making that much money, and you have a rookie quarterback making way more money on the bench their whole rookie year. And then coming into year two, that veteran quarterback's thinking about coming back. You know how that story goes in the NFL. That veteran quarterback's gone, right? The team's just going to turn the keys over to that young quarterback, especially if they're making more money. Well, that's where Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers are at. Like, Quinn's got to go. I hate to say it, but he's got to go. He's got two options: declare for the NFL draft, or he's got 48 hours essentially, because for his window, he's got 2 more days. By January 6th, his name needs to be in the portal. So he's got a decision to make. I'm sure his agent's working his ass off, probably not sleeping, just trying to figure out, is he better than Cam Ward in the NFL's eyes? If J.J. McCarthy declares right after the NFL draft, is he better than J.J. McCarthy? Because in my mind, you have Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels. Those are your core 4. I don't see any of the other 3 that I mentioned leapfrogging those 4 in the draft. And it's very unlikely that 5 quarterbacks go at the top half of a draft. Maybe a 5th sneaks into the back half of the first round, or maybe that last pick in the first round, like a Lamar Jackson did. Someone trades up to go get that player. But if you're not going to go round 1, you almost got to come back to school. And then if you're going back to school, well, Quinn Ewers all of a sudden becomes this massive domino that changes the entire outlook of next season's college football landscape. And same thing can be said for J.J. McCarthy. What happens if they win the national title? Harbaugh takes an NFL job. J.J. McCarthy doesn't like what he's hearing from NFL scouts, comes back to the portal, and then Michigan's about to get hit with sanctions. And then McCarthy's available. So then he's a massive domino. So just because the season's over, college football has truly turned into the NFL, where like a week later, that next season gets rolling and there's just free agents. And so those are 2 big pieces that have yet to figure out what's happening.
I like it. I don't think I have anything else to add to that, of how you broke that down and what that looks like. It'll be really interesting, and we'll be sure to see how that changes things, right? Because we love our futures. We love our future bets, win totals in college football. So it'll be really, really kind of cool to see what that is and see if we can get you guys any inside scoop before it really hits. And then we can drop some bets on there on those future bets, and we'll make sure we'll drop those as soon as we can. All right. Last week of NFL, obviously some surprises last week with
frickin' birds. Jonathan Gannon, golly.
Fucking birds and upsets with the Birds losing last week. They went from being the 2nd seed all the way down to the.
That was on us. Like, we messed that up.
Yeah, the Falcons lost. The Bucks, lost, which was a big kind of shock. The Dolphins got crushed. The Steelers beat Seattle in Seattle. And I think that was kind of really it that I think was the kind of topics of the week, right? So let's get into it. NFL Week 18. We won't do every game. We're going to stick to the games that make sense to even bet. It looks like I might be the only one kind of betting this week as well. But I know Sharp loves to give us 2 sides as we go through the the plays here. So no bet on Pittsburgh Ravens. That game's watch. Even though from a playoff perspective, Pittsburgh's not out of it as of yet. They still have they have head-to-head losses with Houston. They need a lot of help though. First, they need to win, and they need I think they need the Bills or the Jags to lose. And obviously, Baltimore's already locked everything up. So this makes sense that Baltimore probably rests a lot of their players and starters. So I can't bet this game, but
I mean, the line's telling you what to bet. If you're honestly, if someone put a gun to my head right now, I would take Steelers at the 3.5. At 4, I start leaning back to the Ravens, even if it's backup, because you already have known Mason Rudolph's a backup, and it's Tomlin and Harbaugh are 2 CEO style coaches. Neither coach is going to lay down just because they're might not be playing starters per se. Doesn't mean the team itself is laying down. Those coaches don't lay down. So
they're going to coach. They're still going to coach.
It's going to be a rock fight. That'd be a stay away for me unless you just want to bet it, and then I'd actually be on the Steelers.
Yeah, I don't see how you don't bet it if it's not the Steelers. But like you said, those coaches are going to coach.
But I will say, a couple weeks ago, I gave out a short little 2-to-1 mini futures, and I need it, baby. TJ Watt, I need the sack.
Oh, yeah. You need
one
a sack.
Basically, if he gets a sack, he locks it up. So this would be awesome.
Yeah, because who's it? Henderson behind him by 1, I think it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I was looking at that one too. But yeah, like I said, it's a stay away bet for me. But this next game, pretty much playoff game, and it's kind of interesting. The AFC South and the NFC South are both in the same position with 3 teams fighting for the top seed. Some people have a little bit one up or not than the other, but pretty much Houston is looking out as of right now. But if they win the game, they are the AFC South champions. But the Colts sitting at the 7th seed, another pretty much same thing. If they win and they're in, and then they jump up to what? Maybe the 4th seed, right? Because it's all in the South.
Well, yeah, whoever wins the AFC South, auto 4th seed.
4th seed, yep.
Yeah. Whoever wins the South getting a home playoff game.
Yep. And I'm going with the home team here, man. I like the home team straight up here. Taking the Colts. I think love what DeMeco Ryans has done in Houston. Love what CJ Stroud has done in Houston. I just think they're too hurt. I think their team offensively is just really too hurt. I like the Colts at home. I like them getting back Taylor here at the tail end. I think he's a true change of what they can do here. I understand. I think the line is telling you kind of Houston, right, on the road in a massive game. The line says Houston, but I like the home dog here. I think it's a true coin flip type game. Has Minshew been in this spot before? I don't know. I mean, but going back to his Jacksonville days, Minshew Mania was taken over, but I don't know if he's been in a spot where you kind of win and get in. I think CJ's had these lights before just from the Ohio State games. But like I said, I'm going with the home dog here. Houston hasn't been great on the road, and they're just too banged up here. Hell of a coaching matchup too, right? Ryans versus Steichen. Hell of a coaching matchup, but I'm taking Steichen. I'm taking Minshew. I'm taking the Colts. I think they're a little bit more healthier. I think the home crowd gets it over. Wouldn't surprise me if they win by a field goal at the end of the game or something like that. Give me the Indiana Colts on just a unit bet, because Minshew can turn the ball over, and I trust CJ a lot more to not turn the ball over than Minshew will. But I like the offense better on the Colts side, and I think Taylor changes the way this game is going to be played, because I think Taylor can you can take the ball out of Minshew's hand and give it to Taylor and have a little bit more ball control, and not if there was no Taylor, Houston all day. The fact that Taylor is going to play in this game, I go Indy here. Indy
Yeah,
for a unit with the points, the +1.
Man, that's
You on the other side?
I would be
Taking the
probably leaning.
kid?
I'm not betting it, but I probably would be leaning the other way. I just think
Taking the kid.
I just kind of think, yeah, this would be. I feel like this would be the Minshew's. I just don't think Minshew can outduel Stroud. I really don't. Now, I do like your handicap in that I do think Indianapolis can win this game. They don't need their quarterback to be spectacular to win this game. Where Houston is driven by their quarterback. We saw the 2 games where Stroud was out with concussion. Houston looked like a team that would pick top 3 again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I will say this, and this is why I would lean the other way. And I love your little side spot about the 2 coaches. I feel like this is Shane Steichen was a home run hire for the Colts. I feel like he's going to be there a while. D'Amico Ryans was a home run hire for the Houston Texans. I feel like he's going to be there for a while. I feel like you're going to see these 2 teams these 2 coaches coming down to that last week for the division quite a bit the next 10 years. So this is just that first battle.
Yeah.
Everyone will be talking about the quarterbacks. I like your little take on Taylor. Here's why I would take Houston. Go look at Will Anderson's last 5 games. That dude is turning into a monster. He was drafted so high. Everyone talks about Jalen Carter, and Jalen Carter's been spectacular. Will Anderson's got 7 sacks his last 5 games. That dude is coming, and coming with bad intentions. And I just feel like Minshew's that guy that occasionally can hold on to the ball a little too long on 3rd and long. And I could just see Will Anderson strip sack fumble and like everyone talking about CJ Stroud and Will Anderson being like, hey, don't forget about me. I'm also going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think he came back. He had 2 sacks, but he was still limited, right? Looking at his numbers, only played like 15 snaps.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine this week.
Yeah, in a game that they needed. I mean, it's all hands on deck. He'll play, and he'll play as much as he needs to. And that's another reason. Like I said, I think they're kind of limping in.
Both teams are. I mean, these 2 teams are leaking oil, giving everything they got, right? That's kind of what it seems like. Pittman got mollywopped a couple weeks ago. Man. I mean, both these teams are.
Yeah, I agree. It should be a hell of a game on Saturday. So
agreed.
Give me the Colts, or just a unit play. So a unit for me is $100.
Yeah.
So just a unit.
And I don't have any money on the game, so it's not like I've got strong convictions. I can't wait to watch. To me, that's must-see TV.
For sure. All right, let's go to the Sunday slate. Jets, Patriots out. Cleveland's – go ahead.
No, I was just laughing. You said Jets, Patriots out. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about there. Cleveland's in. They're already locked in. Cincinnati, even because of their loss against the Chiefs last week, they are out. The Chiefs are locked in. I'm sorry, the Browns are locked into the 5th seed.
They're resting everybody.
Yeah, they're going to be resting everybody.
Yeah.
They'll get the winner, whoever wins the AFC South, whether it be the Jags, the Colts, or the Texans. And as soon as Saturday comes around, I'm telling you, I'm betting Cleveland. I don't care who they play. I'm betting Cleveland. I'm kind of hoping it's the Jags because I feel like the Jags would be favored a little bit more. I would say Jags maybe -2 against Cleveland. And then that probably line starts to tick. But if it's Houston, I don't know where that line opens up. If it's the Colts,
I think Cleveland's going to be. I think Cleveland will be favored whoever they got.
You think Cleveland will be favored against anybody, even the Jags?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think. What was that spread? I think maybe Cleveland did start as underdogs, didn't they? Cleveland was at Houston, and then Stroud was said to be out, and then that line switched to Cleveland being favored. So, yeah, maybe they would be underdogs. You might be right. Maybe 2. I would be betting Cleveland. I know that.
Yeah, that's the key. I'm betting Cleveland. I know that. Yeah, for sure. And we already gave it out. I think it was 35-1 at the time. Yeah. I did put a nice little bet on them to win.
7 here's a lot. This number to me is just indicative of the Bengals have had to play with a lot of backups all year. and so have the Browns, but the Browns seem like they're laying down as a team. Like this spread is so big for as many backups are going to be in this game. A little interesting side note is this could be T. Higgins' last game as a Bengal. There's a lot of smoke out there that the Bengals are going to have to
They can't afford him, right?
Well, I think they can afford him. Obviously, where there's a will, there's a way in the NFL. We've seen that with Howie Roseman. I mean, you can defer money down the line and make it work, but you have to ask yourself at what cost, right? The more you spend at one position group, the less you can spend at another position group. We see it with the Eagles. We have hella expensive wide receivers, and we spend pennies, literally pennies, at linebacker, and we see the results. So
yeah, that ain't nothing new though.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's kind of what you'd have to ask yourself if you're the Bengals. Like, if you go ahead and give Higgins $20 million with Chase, go ahead and get 25 the following year. Now all of a sudden you're one linebacker and one safety short.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's keep going down the list here. I'm just going down the list here just to kind of give you guys, the playoff picture with some of these games too. Texans are out again. AFC South is up for grabs. No Lawrence though. So CJ Beathard gets the start. So and the one good thing I think that's going for Jacksonville, hopefully, is that I did read that they did open up the IR and the practice window for Kurt, Christian Kurt, which is good. I doubt he plays. Look, you got an update right while we were talking. I doubt he plays. Levis, I don't think is playing either. I think Tannehill gets the start here as well. Probably the last time we see Derrick Henry maybe in a Titans uniform. Probably the last time you see Tannehill in a Titans uniform. So I would actually lean Tennessee here. I think those coaches that you said here before, the Harbaugh, and the who else, and the Tomlins, they're going to coach. Yeah, Vrabel's going to coach. He's going to coach. They're not laying down for anybody. They're going to coach, and they're going to play with the guys that they have. So I think for CJ Beathard to have almost a 6-point favorite, I think that's just too many points. Not betting the game, but I would lean Tennessee here. NFC South, we talked about this with the AFC South. Same dynamic. Whoever wins kind of gets in. And kind of outside of Tampa. I think Tampa is I think Tampa, if they lose because they lost last week, if they lose, I think they're out. So New Orleans beat Tampa last week. So they need to win, and New Orleans needs Tampa to lose again. Tampa's going against Carolina, so I don't see that happening. Atlanta's kind of outside looking in. Same thing. They need to beat New Orleans and hope the Bucs lose to Carolina to kind of get in. So still a big sense of this game, but I have no take on this game. The winner of these three, the Falcons, the Saints, or the Bucs, whoever wins, we're going to see. The Eagles are going to see in the playoffs.
Yep.
We're pretty much locked into the fifth seed. I don't care about what people think about Dallas and Washington. We're locked into the fifth seed. Dallas is not losing to Washington. And I think Sirianni already came out and said we might be resting our starters for this game too against the Giants. So, little bit.
I would. By the way.
Yeah, they probably should.
I feel like the Eagles need a true bye. We're like, get away from football for a week. Like these players need to get away. I'm not talking like party bus, party boat, New York Giants style together, but I'm talking like go be with your families, get away from football. Don't look at the playbook. Don't look at your damn last 4 games. Don't listen to the media. None of that bullshit. Just
I like it.
Get away from football. Hit the reset button. Figure out what makes you happy with football, whatever that is, individually. Like, don't worry about your teammates. And then everyone come back the next week ready to work.
Yeah. I like it. So no play on this game. Vikings in Detroit. I think Detroit still has an outside shot to get to the 2nd seed. So they still got to play this game a little bit here. I'm assuming that the Vikings are going back to Mullins after
It
the
is. They've
Hogs.
already said that. It is Nick
Okay.
Mullins. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yes, I think it is Nick Mullins.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Mullins. The Hall kid, it was a bad idea. I mean, I know Mullins is terrible. He makes a lot of bad decisions, but he can run the offense and he can move the ball. Hall was just
Here's the thing.
it was a bad gamble.
With a young quarterback, a late round pick, you just got to put him out there. And sometimes you're like, oh, maybe he's a Brock Purdy and we got something for next year. And then sometimes you see the opposite ends of the spectrum and it's a Jaron Hall and you're like, or it's a Nate Sudfeld and you're like, okay, yeah, this guy is a third. He's a third, at best, he's your third quarterback. But you only know that if they start one game or two games. So I understand why they threw him out there, but I think they got their answer. That dude will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I hate to say it, but it's just that's not going to be in the cards for that young man.
Yeah, and it's a little weird, I guess, because it's his division opponent. I still think Detroit comes out. I think Campbell fits that same mold. He's going to coach, right? He's not laying down for anybody. So I would lean Detroit here. Line's a little bit, telling to me. I mean, Minnesota still has to win this game. They're outside looking in. They need the win here, obviously, and they need the Packers and Seattle to lose, and they need the Falcons to win. So that's a lot going on for them to actually get in there. But
is this Malik Hooker? Or not Malik Hooker? Hooker. Why am I forgetting the QB, the Tennessee QB?
Oh, you talking about the Tennessee? I don't think so.
He's Goff's backup. You think Goff's starting for sure?
I think so.
Because remember, this line opened at 5 or 6, and it's come down to 3. And I feel like I wonder why. Like someone's got to know something.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Hooker, it would definitely.
Remember, Hooker just got cleared because remember, old boy. God, why am I'm usually great with names, and I'm just having one of those days where I'm drawing a blank on names. Who's Teddy Bridgewater? Remember, he declared he's going to retire because he was mentoring Hooker while Hooker was trying to get back from ACL surgery. And remember, recently Hooker was activated off PUP and put on the active roster. And then literally 2 days later, Teddy said he was going to retire after the season. So I wonder if Hooker's like ready to play, and maybe they don't give him a shot to see what he's worth this week. And maybe someone knows that, and that's why the lines come down.
Or if even he might get
or maybe play the second
half.
He
might play. He might play.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a chance he could play. Because I mean I think the way Dallas is not losing to Washington. It's just not. And I think Detroit's got to put themselves in position, but win or lose, they're still going to be sitting in the 3rd seed, and they'll host a playoff game, I think, since I forget what the year was, 2019 or whatever it was. No, I think it was longer than that. I think it's been 30
hosting
years.
A playoff game?
Yeah.
35 years.
30 years. Yeah, I think it's been 30 years. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to look at. Just you guys, listening right now to the Detroit Lions and the Vikings. Just stay with us, and we'll see what we can find out, and we'll drop if anything comes up new. But it's probably a stay away game, even though you can't trust anybody that's not in there.
Yeah, this week's tough. This week to me is one of those weeks. You know how we like to typically do shows early and even talk about early lines on Sunday. This is that 1 week of the year, in my opinion. And same with week one. Week one, you can wait and see. Try to get as much information as possible. Like this is that 1 week where if you just want to literally wait till Adam Schefter posts all the ins and outs on Sunday or Saturday, depending on what the game you're looking at, that's okay. Like this is not the 1 week where you got to get money down early. Just wait it out, get all the information possible, and then make your decision. There's no rush this week.
Agreed. Skipping the Raiders and Denver game, really interesting what's going over in Denver. We'll see what happens with that, if Russell's even there in Denver anymore. And we talked about the Cowboys versus Washington. Cowboys are minus 13. Washington gave a fight against the Niners. and then it just got ugly in the second half, and then it was over. And they thought Sam Howell was it, and he's just not it. Just not it. I can see Washington playing some of their backups here. Now, the one thing that does hurt, or kind of if you're thinking about Washington, there's a couple factors here, right? This is an NFC rivalry game. So there's your first foremost. It's a lot of points in an NFC rivalry game. The problem is it's the last game of the year and Washington's done.
Yeah.
We already know Ron Rivera is gone, more than likely, and Sam Howell's not it. So this affects draft status. The other thing is there's a hell of a snowstorm coming this weekend.
Yep.
Up the East Coast. Right?
Yep.
So this ain't like, can throw to CD Lamb 15 times for him to have 20 yards. Like this could be a different type of matchup. And there's not big stars on that defensive line anymore. So these are guys who are fighting for roster spots, want to make an impression. I can't take Washington here at all, but I think I heard this on the radio today. How terrible. It's so Philadelphia if we play our backups and Washington wins this game. And we lose because we played our backups, right? Because we put in our backups. We think that what everybody else is thinking. There's no way that Washington wins this game, so we play our backups. And Washington somehow, because Dallas is shitty on the road anyway, they're like 2-5 or whatever their record is, and Washington pulls out an upset for some reason. Just throwing out, just throwing that out there as a conspiracy. It's not even a spoiler or even a guess or just watch, you'll see. It's more of a conspiracy theory. That's it. Like that's all I can put it on.
Well, and I will say that Vegas, the odds. I shouldn't say Vegas because books are everywhere. The odds makers, they're juicing it that way. So the first half line is Dallas -7.5. And the game line is only 6. Or, the second half is only 5.5, with the total being 13 for the game line. So, Vegas, the odds makers essentially are already telling you they like Dallas up big first half. Like, if you're going to bet Dallas, it probably is that first half, but you're going to have to eat that hook.
Whew. Yeah. I kind of probably like the under, too, here. If I was betting this game, I would bet the under.
Washington's playing for the number 2 overall pick. Like, I think there's an outside chance Washington could pick number 2 overall, right? If somehow New England wins.
So what happens if New England wins and Washington loses?
New England wins and Washington loses, I think the Commanders are getting Drake May, which for them is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Ain't Sam Howell from North Carolina?
Yeah, that would be so funny because Drake May replaced Sam Howell at North Carolina. So that would be like, how sports little things work out. It's just like you can't write history sometimes. You can't write the script. This would be one of those scenarios where Drake May would walk in the locker room and say, "Remember me?"
Yeah, do they? It's obviously. I mean, I know you're not a big fan of Williams, Khalil Williams. But
I do like him as a player. I just don't understand I like the player. I have a big time grade on him. To me, I just have a different threshold for generational. To me, when you say generational, I'm thinking like there's got to be certain physical measurables that are met, not just like what I see on film or like a Lamar where your playmaking is so like, you know what I mean? Like I need to see like, if you're telling me they're small, but they're moving like a Lamar or Mike Vick, I'm like, okay, yeah, my eyes are telling me this person's different than everyone else in the football field. When I watch Williams play, I don't always see just, okay, he's far and away the best player on the football field. At times, yes, and I do think there's some magic to him, but we've had this conversation off air. I don't think he's one of those players that is going to take over the league if he got drafted by all 32 teams. I think if he were like a Patrick Mahomes, where he falls to an Andy Reid or a Sean Payton or a Kyle Shanahan or a Sean McVay, who already knows what they're doing with a quarterback, then yeah, he's going to be a generational player. But if he gets drafted by a bad situation with like a defensive, like say a Brandon Staley were to coach him, I don't think he can just like overcome that.
The only reason why I say is that, are we sure it's May? Like, why not Penix here?
Oh, I like Penix. I guess I shouldn't have said May. I was just throwing my
Okay,
my thing with May and Penix is like you are going to have the 2 ACL surgeries, and you are going to just May's a bigger kid and he's younger, so you're just going to like the ceiling's higher with the May. Well, if you're looking at Penix and May, it's the age old adage of high ceiling versus high floor. Penix is the higher floor player. Drake May's the higher ceiling player. It would just kind of be whatever you wanted.
Who's a bad lefty who's starting in the NFL?
It's rare. Lefties are usually good.
Yeah, that's what I said. I feel like lefties are usually good.
Yeah. Oh, I think Penix is going to be a good football player. No doubt about it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering.
And again, I don't not like Caleb. When you say generational, to me, I'm thinking like Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning. Like I'm thinking like this dude's 6'6", can like rocket arm and is either super smart, can move, or I'm thinking like a Mike Vick Lamar where this dude's running 4.3 with a cannon. Like I just don't see that with Caleb. So to me, he's an all-day top 5 pick, but generational talent, I just don't see that.
Yep, agreed. All right, so for my next bet, we got the Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay's favorite -3, total is 45.5. I'm going on a hunch here, and my hunch is that Fields might not play this game, and I'm going to take Green Bay -3 at home. I love the way Jordan Love's playing. I like the way the Green Bay Packers are playing at home. I know Chicago's got the first pick already locked up for this one. I think Fields got his goodbye in Soldier Field when they were chanting, "We want Fields."
Yeah.
I don't see a reason for Fields to play in this game. I really don't. It's the old school NFC North rivalry. Again, more likely going to be snowy and bad weather, just the way NFC North should be. I just don't see a reason for Fields to play in this game. I really don't at all. I don't. They can't make the playoffs, spoiler, and all that. If Green Bay wins because of their big win last week, they're pretty much in, and they lock in the last seed, the 7th seed. So give me and Lambeau, old school, Chicago versus Green Bay. The line is perfect. It is what it is. Give me Green Bay -3. Here, I might even do a little 2-leg money line parlay with Green Bay and Indiana, taking both home teams just to win to get in. But I like Green Bay here.
Yeah, man, it's funny you say that. So I haven't no confirmation. I haven't heard any national pundit even say that. But man, that's one of your sharper takes all year with the not playing Fields. Like there's no added value. I don't think one more game of tape is going to drastically change his value where some team's going to be like, oh my gosh, did you see that last game in Lambeau? Take my top 10 pick. I don't think that's happening, but the opposite could happen. If Fields suffers a catastrophic injury, you literally go and get like a 6th round. You basically go from getting what Sam Darnold got traded for, which was a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th when he left the Jets, and you end up with what Ryan Tannehill got traded for, which was a 4th, and you had to give a 6th. So that can't happen if you're the Bears. You can't risk losing that much draft capital over one game that means nothing. You're going to finish the season with a losing record. If Jim Harbaugh knocks on your door and say, hey, I want to coach Caleb Williams, you're going to fire Matt Eberflus tomorrow and hire Jim Harbaugh. Like, we all know that. So there's no, like, if you can upgrade a quarterback and coach, you're just going to do that. Like, we know that's coming. You can say you like the kid and you like the coach, and that might be the case. But if you can upgrade, you're going to do that and hit the reset button. And that being said, like, I would go even further. Like, if DJ Moore suffers a bad injury and you do get it and you do draft a Caleb Williams, you need DJ Moore. You can't have DJ Moore on PUP for the first 8 weeks with your rookie quarterback. You can't have Montez Sweat on the PUP list after you just traded for him and gave him all that money and you're trying to revamp your defense. You can't have Jalen Johnson suffer a catastrophic injury and then not be willing to offer him a contract in free agency or get the compensatory pick that equates to being a high-end cornerback signed in the open market. So I would be literally resting any person that has value. I know that you're not supposed to do that in the NFL, but this is the last week. The commissioner's not going to care. It is what it is. And on the other side, Green Bay, like Jordan Love, you've got something. They somehow pulled off the Harry Houdini. They somehow went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to a good quarterback. Maybe he's not Hall of Fame, but he's good. Like he's legit.
Yeah, no, he's good. Yeah, no, he's legit.
A guy you can stick with for 2 to 3 years and slowly build and see what you got. Maybe he's not a guy you pay $50 million to, but he's definitely in that Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, second tier quarter, however you want to put those guys. So to me, this is like a springboard for the Packers. You can't make the playoffs, but man, if you win this game, you can just send your season off with a note into the next.
No, they're in the playoffs. They win this game, they're in.
Oh, that's right. Are they in?
Yeah, because they won. Yeah, because they. So the issue, the thing that got them in was Seattle lost. So because Seattle lost, right? Okay. Seattle dropped out of the wild card.
But if Seattle wins and Green Bay wins, Seattle's out?
Yeah, Seattle's still out. They need Green Bay to lose.
Okay. I guess I misunderstood that. But yeah, that loss for Seattle was terrible then.
Terrible. Yeah. So so right now, if Green Bay wins, they're in. And that just adds more incentive to it. Like,
I mean, this was the one game I was already thinking about betting. Kind of like Missouri when we were Ohio State. To me, this is all about Green Bay has limitations this year. Whatever happens this year is gravy. For them, it's springboarding into next year. Like next year is that year for Green Bay, just like I think next year is that year for Missouri. And like now, if you're telling me they win and get in, like to me, this is the one game you gotta bet. Like Green Bay is gonna win this game, no doubt.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I just threw it up there. Green Bay and the Colts and a 2 money line parlay is 2 to 1, a little over 2 to 1. So,
what would a Green Bay and Dallas be? Money line. I know Dallas is such a favorite, so it would pull. I wonder what those
minus 127.
Not terrible. Not where I'd want it to be though. But
yeah, it's not terrible. Not terrible. But I do like Green Bay straight here though. I think Green Bay wins this game.
Yeah,
like you said. Obviously Seattle needs to win, but the Cardinals. Gannon's got them boys playing, man, and he's a decent coach. I never didn't think he was a bad coach because he put our players in better positions to win, and they all responded. Very rare that almost everybody had a career year, but the year before they had a really good defense and a good year too. They just didn't have that ceiling where everybody was going at the same time. So, I think this line is kind of telling how short it is. Another division matchup. Seattle needs to win to get in, but Geno's regress, and Murray's starting to come on just a little bit here, and they're doing it with nobody. Hollywood Brown is out of there. It's really just McBride and Connor looked like Steelers Connor last week for some reason. You know what I mean? Made in great jump cuts, had his vision was on, and he showed just a little bit of burst because he's slow as balls, but he showed a little bit of burst where he just had enough juice to get to the corner, which is insane. So, Cardinals might want to go out on an end here. I know
Seattle's run defense is terrible. I mean, terrible.
Yeah. So I'm not betting the game, but the lean would be Cardinals.
I will say I feel like James Conner, he's going to have a big game. I mean, Seattle's run defense is so bad. Mm-hmm. And James Conner's obviously playing. Like Jonathan Gannon's got his guys playing. I don't know why they're trying to win games. It's weird to me. I guess it's because if you're looking at Arizona and you're thinking about it, you'd rather let your new coach build his culture of winning and not like stacking up losses. Yeah. Then you're not. They're probably not going for the quarterback in this class, right? Like they seem to be happy with Murray. So they're probably not thinking like, oh, we got to get that second or third pick. Like to them, it's probably like, all right, well, if we pick third or fifth, whatever, we're not getting the quarterback anyway. So
yeah, they'll be interesting if they get Harris and Marv. They'll be really interesting next year.
I mean, everyone likes Marv, and I like Marv. Don't get me wrong, but like, there's other good receivers. It's not like there's Marvin Harris, and then after that, you can't get anybody. Like Malik Neighbors is a stud. Roma Dunze is a stud. Like I think Arizona's in a good spot to get a really good player.
For sure. for sure. All right, we know the Niners locked up one. Rams are outside looking in. Actually, no, they're the sixth wild seed. So,
Yeah,
um,
they're in for sure.
yeah, they're in for sure. Because see, once again, Seattle gave everybody gifts. With Seattle losing, they clinched the playoff berth, and the only thing for them is if Green Bay wins and they lose, they drop to the seventh seed, and that would have them a date with Dallas. So I don't know. I think already McVay kind of eased some noise. He said he's going to be back next year. So I don't know how McVay plays at it. He's a strategist. He's a coaching genius. So it'd be interesting how he plays this game.
He
No reason for it.
usually beats the shit out of Kyle too.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does. So it'll be interesting. No bet. Chiefs are in. Chargers are out. No bet.
Yeah.
Your Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. Eagles are favorite -5. Total is 41. Money line is -230. I don't know how you bet the Eagles at all. Any game. Debo has his guys continue to play. Right? They took the Rams to the limit. They probably should have won that game. Tyrod had a bad pitch on the 2-point conversion to Saquon, and they should have won that game. I lean Giants. It's going to be I lean Giants, and it's a possibility that the Eagles are playing their backups. That's already been kind of hinted at and insinuated. So, if I was betting this game, I would stay and pay close attention to what's going on here. You're not really going to know. Well, actually, no, because the Dallas game runs at 4:25. So,
Yeah.
you know what? Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants +4. I don't even bet against. I don't think I really bet against. Maybe I have bet against the Birds. But give me the Giants plus the 5. And the reason why I'm taking the Giants plus the 5 because I don't believe Hurts is playing this game. I don't see a reason for him to play, and it's almost similar to the Green Bay, but obviously different because we're making the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. I see all the linemen, the offensive line getting out. Alot might play, but he won't play long. Especially look at the second half. If Dallas is up big, them guys are coming out. Them guys are coming out. And everybody's hit their props. This is another week for this, and I should have said this in the beginning. Another week for this is for people to hit milestones, people to hit their bonuses and stuff like that. We have 1,000-yard rusher. He probably already hit his.
Yep.
You already know AJ probably already hit his. Who knows if Devontae Smith even plays with his ankle injury, so he probably already hit his.
He's not playing.
Goddard's been out for so long. He gone. We don't really have a sack thing. I mean, Reddick probably. I think might have.
Reddick got double digits, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know what more he could do. So and maybe Carter, right? Maybe look for a Carter prop for a sack. Might be something to look at. He was 2-1 last week.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he plays and he gets one again this week. So, give me the Giants. I wasn't even betting this game, but give me the Giants. The more I think about it, 5 points is way too much. I just don't see it happen. But hey, if Marcus Mariota comes on and lights the world on fire, God bless him. God bless him. All right, in the last game of the slate, man, this is a huge game. Believe it or not, whoever wins this game wins the AFC South because the Dolphins got smoked. And they got banged up too. Tyreek Hill's not all the way back. Mostert didn't play. Don't know if he's playing. Sunday Night Football. Waddle's still banged up. Bills versus Dolphins. Bills are favorite -3. Totals 49.5. Bills have won. I think they won 5 in a row, and they put themselves in position to not only get into the playoffs, but to also win the AFC East again. Now, I don't know what happens if they lose. I don't know 100% if they lose. I know if Miami lose kind of with the Eagles, they go from 2 to 5. I think if the Bills lose, I think they might be out of the playoffs. I think this is a must-win game for the Bills. Not 100% sure on that one. Just the way the tiebreakers go. So, I don't have a side on this game. I think 3 is a lot. The Dolphins looked like they were playing the best ball until they ran into the Ravens. So, man, you know, MVP's out of the window for folks at this point. Um, Tua has a shoulder injury, but seems like he will be playing. I mean, I think the 2 seed is important in this game. So, no, I don't think maybe the Bills do get. I mean, whoever wins gets to host a game, and I think that favors more Buffalo than anything. So Buffalo needs to show up in this game. I'm trying to go back here when they played them before. Buffalo beat the
Buffalo
bullshit out of
smashed them. Buffalo
yeah,
smashed
smashed
them
them.
in Buffalo.
Yeah, in Buffalo. Was that the Jordan? No, that wasn't the Jordan Cook game. No, it was the Josh Allen game.
No, Josh
Um,
Allen cooked them.
yeah, Josh Allen cooked them, and they lost Chubb, which hurts
Yeah.
as well. So, man, I really like Buffalo here. It makes a lot of sense with Buffalo here. Um, I'll see how the day goes. Could be a Buffalo and Green Bay money line. Makes a lot of sense here. Parlay, 2-leg parlay. If I put this together, probably a little bit more than 2-1. No, it's only plus 158. So probably not even worth it at that point. Probably
So
just do separate bets. But yeah, I lean Buffalo here.
yeah, I do too. Like what you could almost just wait this one out too,
Yeah, I think
because
so.
I was just looking at the standings. Like here's what the Buffalo needs. Remember, Buffalo lost to the Jags in London. And that's kind of coming back to bite them here. They need the Jags to lose. If the Jags lose, then the Bills don't have then the Bills basically are in an okay spot, because if Houston beats Indy, then it really just comes down to division winners, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, I guess you could just wait it out and see if the Bills absolutely
That's
need
true.
that game.
That's true.
I'm trying to think if anyone else can jump them. The Colts can't. The Steelers. The Steelers could go 10-7. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who would have the tiebreaker, Steelers or Bills. That I don't know.
So I think Miami wins and they're in. Pittsburgh is in if they win and Buffalo loses. I think that's the way it goes. So
So
I
Buffalo
mean,
probably
Buffalo
has,
controls a lot. Like Buffalo needs to win this game.
yeah.
Um, it gives it up too much to chance. They'll know obviously by the end, but yeah, Buffalo needs to win this game. I don't think there's any way around that. So here it is. They win the NFC titles if they win, but if Pittsburgh loses, Jacksonville loses, or there's a tie in the Houston Indy game, they get in.
Yeah.
So that's
what I was saying. They need the Jags to lose.
yeah, they need the Jags to lose,
Yeah.
which could happen with CJ.
Could happen.
Yeah, with CJ.
Which I hope not, because I need the Jags to win for my season win total.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I was wondering what that was. Yeah, that's 9.5.
Yeah, I need Seattle and Jags to win. It's coming down to the last week. I need both.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. So those are the bets for week 18. We already did our college. Now MoneyPot for 2024. So if you're still with us, thank you. Appreciate you listening and watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And what's coming for MoneyPot in 2024? Well, with the football season coming down, we're going to start switching gears and going into our other sports. Now, we won't have maybe full shows like this, but we'll have some new shows. So our first new show will be a draft show with Sharp. We're going to get into, so if you love NFL draft and that whole process of looking at prospects, breaking down draft statuses and all that stuff, C Sharp is going to run with that. I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, Sharp.
Yeah, and it'll be, because of that, it'll be and not just Eagles related. It will kind of go around all 32 teams, kind of what we would do maybe to fix each 32 teams. And because of that, obviously, we'll delve in a little bit of maybe some college kids that maybe are down the pike, that following year. Because sometimes when you're looking at one draft, you got to look at, well, maybe what's coming that next year. Maybe we'll just go ahead and wait. And so sometimes that comes up. But, yeah, it'll be it won't just be for one team. We'll be looking at all 32 teams.
Yep. So we have that show coming up. We'll be adding more NBA basketball. So look out for the basketball show. That'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're still working on Sharp's timing on when he wants to do his show. And then Sharp will do some golf picks for our golf watchers. We have some golf.
It starts this week. Yes. Century Tournament of Champions. It's out in Hawaii. There's only 60 players. Scotty Scheffler's the favorite. Victor Hovland's right behind him. No Rory McIlroy this week. I will have picks tonight. I'll have a couple picks. I'll probably have one top 20 pick, one top 10 pick, and then I'll pick one guy to win. That's usually how I do it. This is a tough tournament. You don't really know what's going on. Guys are switching caddies. Guys are switching golf coaches. Every season's guys will be hot. Guys will be cold. Golf's a little unique. There's rarely, except for the very top, do guys have back-to-back great seasons. Usually it's like if a guy had a great season, he's probably going to regress a little. So just keep in tune for those picks. They won't be a show. Those will be just short form.
Yeah, right. That would be short form. Yeah, it won't be a full show. The only show coming is the draft show, and then I might come on and do a little bit on basketball and the Sixers, and then we have soccer. Diddy will be our soccer guy, adding some soccer content. So tons of content still coming, tons of bets still coming. Oh yeah, and I forgot, I will be doing my tutorial. So if you're a new bettor, a beginner, recreational, you want to take it seriously, I'm going to show you and give you tips and tricks on how to become like Sharp and become a pro bettor.
Right? Yeah, North Carolina goes live, I want to say Monday, like January 7th or 8th, North Carolina. So we'll have a new state on board. So that'll be good. You'll be able to there'll be a new state with some new listeners and some new bettors.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll be giving you the tricks and the trades. I got spreadsheets. I got some whiteboarding to do. So it's going to be fun to be teaching folks on how to bet and how to follow along and see how we actually come up with our bets and our plays and give you some inside track. So got a lot of stuff coming here. There's a lot of stuff cooking. I think that'll be it for all the upcoming stuff. I'll do maybe something a little bit more formal to give you a little bit more. But again, if you're new, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying here. If you've been here with us before, you already know the flow. Happy betting, happy hunting. This is Moss Money. That's C-Sharp. This is MoneyPot Betting. We'll see you next week.
Let's get it.